And good afternoon. Welcome in. I am Sunshine Linda Mora. I am your host, and you stepped into It's Really the Blueprint. I want to first of all welcome everybody in because this is where you need to be today. Why do I say that? This is where you need to be because this is going to be a place where we can have conversations where you don't have to worry about leaning one way. We're going to really put a spectrum there where everybody will get to see the real deal. I want to welcome you here tonight. And firstly, before we do anything else, what I want to remind you to do is to like, share, click, print, do everything it is. Make sure you get it. You can get the notifications also. Hit that notification bell that you will be chimed in every time we do something and something's live that we need to talk about. We've got so many things planned for you. The reason being the blueprint is so important to us today. Why? Because we've got to stand up. You hear all of these things coming from another party called the MAGA, things that are just heightened on one end and you only see one part. But this is where the blueprint's going to come in. They're going to give you the actual blueprint. We've got guests that's going to be coming in to share with you very important information. I'm a strong believer that knowledge is power. And once you receive that knowledge, then you're going to know exactly what we're going to do. And again, I want to say tonight, I am Sunshine. This is Blueprint, your blueprint. I want to welcome you in because tonight we've got some things that we need to talk about with some of our co-hosts that are here with us that you need to be a part of. We're not going to prolong it because I know you want to hear all about it. This show is really put together, should I say. I get excited when I get things like this that I can really put out what you need to know. And that's what you're going to find out tonight, right here on Blueprint. We hear all the time about things that people are frustrated. People are just, oh, they're getting so tense now, it's causing everybody to have to go get some mental health, somebody to go talk to somebody. This is why we're going to do what we're doing tonight with Blueprint. We got conversations. Whereas when you bring me to the table, then I can hear and put something into the table that's going to be beneficial for the entire community. That's one thing that's going to be done with the Blueprint. And with that introduction on me, I'm going to take it now because we've got so many things to talk about, so many people that we want you to know that's involved with what's going on with the actual Blueprint Live. I'm going to shift it over to a young lady that I have come to know in the last several years that are doing some great things. And I'm glad for her to be a part of this as well. And you know who I'm talking about. We're talking about Miss Gay Falamont. And Gay, hi, Gay.
Hey, Sunshine. Thank you so much for the awesome introduction. I also am so looking forward to this conversation. When we asked people what they wanted in this area, they wanted
Mm-hmm.
Democrats to be more involved, more present. So I
Right.
am very excited. A little
Exactly.
bit about who I am. I am Florida's first congressional district Democratic, hopefully nominee. I am running for Congress again after I turned Escambia County blue and narrowed the margin in a R plus 37 district to 22 points. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, I'm very excited. And I believe that we can build on that growth, build on what we have started here. And I am running again and I'm putting everything I got into it.
And we know that's going to be something that's exceptional because I mean, by the time now that I've gotten to know you and I know your personality, you are so deep into it. And of course, now we're going to shift it over because there's another person that I've gotten and have grown a great relationship with you as well. Derek Scott. He's also with us tonight. He is the chair of the Democratic Party. Hello there, Derek.
Hey, good evening, sunshine. How are you to this evening?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Well, certainly, I am happy to join us. Like Gay as well as yourself, I am very happy to be starting this show and working with you all, this great ensemble cast of folks here in
Hmm.
Northwest Florida to bring the actual factual. Our plan here at the Blueprint Live is to break things down so we can build a better understanding. And hopefully that's what we're going to do. So, for those of you all who I do not have the pleasure of knowing firsthand, my name is Derek Scott, and I happen to be a civic and political strategist uh, working here across Escambia County as well as the state of Florida. My focus is on strengthening democratic institutions, improving transparency, and empowering communities through education, outreach, accountability, and making sure people understand the issues that shape their lives.
Mhm.
My work has spanned from my former life in finance and now real estate and compliance, audits, legislative analysis, and more importantly, building coalitions that bring people together to solve real life problems and making sure that every voice is heard and building coalitions that reflect those voices and the values of the people of Escambia County and beyond. So I'm very happy to do this, and we look forward to many more shows.
Absolutely. It's going to be a blueprint, no doubt about it. And there's a young man that I met recently also. He is such a gem and he's so smart. And he's smart in so many different areas, but he is filled with knowledge. And I'm glad that he's a part of this. That is Dr. BJ Brunias.
Thanks so much, Sunshine, for that warm introduction. I'm BJ Brunius. I'm an ER doctor by trade. I have a specialty in the disparate impact our American healthcare system has on people of color, even when you control for income and insurance. But I'm so much more than that. You know, I come from a family of labor organizers and freedom riders. I'm a political strategist, a unifier, and someone who spent real time in the trenches, not just talking about politics, but actually doing the work on the
Absolutely.
ground, in the rooms, and behind the scenes where decisions get made and narratives about us get shaped. And I've seen how the system operates up close, how messages are crafted, and how voters are engaged. And I've also observed how and when power actually moves. So I'll be honest with you. A lot of what passes for analysis on television barely scratches the surface. And that's part of the reason why this show exists, because
Mhm.
I'm not here to play it safe. I'm not here to dress things up. I'm here to tell it straight, break it down, and make sure you actually understand what's happening, not just what you're being told. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like these videos, send your comments in, your show suggestions, and consider becoming a paid member of our Substack, where you can get insider information into how we prepare for this show, and you may even get to chime in on our editorial decisions. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Sunshine.
And thank you so much, BJ. Well, there's so much to talk about tonight because there's so many things that's going on. So we're going to keep this going because I know the conversation is going to be heavy. We're going to go back over to Gay. We're going to be talking about the war and the things that are happening that's so prevalent to our community where people may not even understand all of that as we read and see the things that even came back today in regards to the war. And I know that you've got the information that's needed, Gay.
Yeah, it's and this is a fantastic conversation to have. I think that we all need to be informed of why our gas prices are going so high and why we are in this war. First of all, we need to point out that this is a war of choice by the President of the United States. We were
Mhm.
not at an imminent threat from Iran, no more so than we have been for the last 47 years. We started this war committing war crimes by bombing a triple tap or a double tap, excuse me, on an elementary school that killed over 150 kids and over 100 or 200, or excuse me, 20 teachers. That is a war crime. That is a war crime to hit a civilian target. That's how this war started. So, how did we find ourselves in this war and why are we in this war? I don't know that that anybody can tell us. I have been talking to people in the military for the last 3 weeks about what's going on, and there is no clear mission. There is no clear end. So, is it regime change? Is it to steal their oil? What is it for? My guess is that we're at war because we were talking about the Epstein files too much, and that is what I think.
So that's going to throw us off. I mean, that's going to break that concentration on one thing to shift it to another. And I'm pretty sure with all of us talking about the war, and I see a great big smile there on Derek's face, and I'm sure he's got something because I believe that what we may think when we put all of these things collectively, we will see that we're going to come up with the same answer, but we don't understand what's the purpose behind the war. And I'll shift that to you, Derek, and your thoughts on the war. What are you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I tend to concur with Gay in looking at where we are in terms of why we're spending our time here in Iran trying to defeat this. And as Gay said, we are the the man in the White House believes that we're spending too much time focusing on the Epstein files. So what do? We create a false flag or a red herring. Let us lead to something else to distract us from the real conversation and what's important in this race. We also talk about, what we did, what the man in the White House did with respect to Venezuela. We have to understand too that this is also about oil and controlling oil, not only in South America but also in the Middle East. We've heard time and time again this man talk about wanting to make money over money, or hand over fist in terms of the amount of money that they're benefiting from the agreement that they've struck with the Venezuelan leader right now. He's looking to mirror the same process in Iran, and that's his ultimate goal. I think it also happens to coincide at the time that more and more pressure is being placed upon the government with respect to the Epstein files. But what I find really interesting, when we talk about this, the focus, as you know, my background is finance, of course, and I want to talk about like how this man has gone to look and seek another $200 billion in funding
That
for a
part.
war that is unnecessary. And at this
Mhm.
time, when we talk about the $200 billion, let's not forget that the U.S. Treasury Department just recently declared the United States insolvent. And for those who are unfamiliar with what insolvency means, is that we have insurmountable debt that we will never be able to pay back. And so to then compound that debt and to add another $200 billion to fund a war, let's be clear, this is not a conflict, this is a war. And going through that process, that's where we are right now, looking at this, and the burden falls on the American people.
And when we
$39
say the
trillion
American,
dollars in debt. $39 trillion we just surpassed.
wow.
Mm.
And if you're saying that, when you see this, so as I see, it's not worried about the everyday people. The everyday people are the ones suffering the most. I'm talking about the everyday people that has to go to the pull up to the service station when you can't fill your car up. The person that has to go into the supermarket who cannot buy but one bag and that's $75. But I'm saying that. But what we're trying to find out is what is it? What is it that we need to convey as a people so that we can make sure that we've got to stop this. I
Mhm.
think that if something has to be done because I don't see it declining. I see it escalating every day that this is going on. So I'll say that to say, and I know it bothers me because there are people that it affect around me. It affects me because I'm one of your everyday people. It affects me, and I get so passionate when I talk about these type things because it bothers me on the inside that we're talking about how much I care about my American people, but you're not showing me that you care about the American people. You're caring about those people who have those 6-digit, big check accounts.
Hmm.
Which
Yep.
I don't care one of those yet. What about you? BJ. I see that smile, but tell me, how do you feel about the war? What do you think that we should be doing?
Well, I'm gonna talk about how I feel about this fool starting this war in the Middle East, but let's hear from him first. Well, that ain't what we were supposed to see.
That's ice cream there, but that's okay. You got look. I'm all about food.
Because the United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up. But it's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things. They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing: military protection.
Oh wow.
What I would say to that is that it is not the role of America's 20 and 30-year-olds to go and fight for the freedom of people in the Middle
Mm-mm,
East. I wrote
mm-mm.
about this in a Substack. You all can go and check it out on Substack. It's free, but we would love for you to be a paid subscriber. But everything there is free. It's for you to own, and for you to read it if you like. I wrote about this in a Substack because there were a couple of people that I met when I was in residency who were of Iranian descent. So they were Iranian Americans. And they left Iran, which is an authoritative, theocratic regime that is very brutal. We don't argue about that. We don't have any, quarrels about those facts. It's a
Right.
very terrible regime to have to live under, which is the reason why they fled to live and be the most flourishing people that they could possibly be and live up to their potential. But these were two people who are physicians in California living their best life while they people back at home are struggling, and then they are applauding the president for intervening and bombing the country because they understand what's going on over there and they're hoping that there's a liberation. But my thing is that you left your people to come over here to live a great life, but then you expect our men and women, my cousins, my nieces, my nephews, my uncle, my aunt, to go over there and fight for the freedom of your people who you fled? Like, you ain't even fighting for them, but we supposed to fight for them?
Mm-hmm.
So by all means, I think this is, I believe everything that is written on the tablet of the Statue of Liberty. And that bring us your huddled masses, bring them here. If you want to come here and reach your greatest potential, I'll be the first one to open the doors. But I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
little shady for you to come here and live your greatest, best life making your six-figure salary, but then you expect our men and women who making $45,000 a year to go and risk their lives for your people's freedom. That's the way I
Exactly.
stand on it.
Oh,
And
wow.
to be clear, we have lost 15 servicemen and women, and over 530 have been injured and wounded since the start of this war on February the 28th. That
How
is
many?
unacceptable. 15 have died, and over 530 have been wounded or injured. This war comes with a price, and it's the American people who are paying it.
Mm. It's unbelievable that what bothers me with this, and I know that we could go on and on and on and on, but it's the non acknowledgement of what's really going on. That really causes me to give one of those that I can't even say that word. But why is it that you think that even what we see that's happening now is still being said that that's not what's happening? Anybody tell me that? I mean, I don't understand that. My eyesight and your eyesight, I'm sure, see the same thing, but yet instead, when it comes out verbally, it is something different.
Well, because
Why
it's
is
what
that?
this administration does all the time.
Right.
It's divide, it's
Mm-hmm.
distract, it's
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they're actually like, let's say the thing that is so outrageous in order to desensitize us to the actual
Mm-hmm.
horrors of the atrocities
Mm-hmm.
that they're committing. He just tacoed out again on this threat. And for those at home who don't know what taco mean, is Trump always chickens out, and so he just tacoed on the threats, which thank God he did, because who knows what would have been in store for those people over there if he was
Exactly.
planning on
Exactly.
bombing their infrastructure and bombing their bridges and their nuclear power plants and
Mm-hmm.
bragging about sending them back to the Stone Ages on Easter of all holidays. It's just like this.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose. It's to distract us with these outlandish things, so that when the actual real stuff go down, we
Mm-hmm.
already have been desensitized and we just go right in line with it.
Do you
Yeah.
think that
And
even with the talk of the war like it is now, with the fact with the Epstein file, has he been successful in keeping that quiet to get our attention to the war? But what his whole purpose was initially to stop us from talking about the Epstein file and look at what we're talking about now?
yeah,
Would you say
absolutely.
he's being successful?
Absolutely. Before
Well,
the war started, before Venezuela started, the news cycle was 100% Epstein files, and let's get to the root of this problem. Let's make sure that we hold these people accountable and stand up for the victims of this heinous crime. And
Mm-hmm.
since the war started, we have been inundated with all of this hyperbolic masculinity about bombing stuff, and then the videos of video games and all those other things. But I
Mm-hmm.
did want to mention, we were talking about, he stands up and says these things and expects us to believe it. He stood up at the State of the Union and told us we're not all going poor. He stood up at the State of the Union and said gas prices were fine. He stood up at the State of the Union and said that inflation was okay. He's looking at us and telling us we're not seeing what we see. And it's all a lie.
Mhm. That's the
Yeah,
part I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think to your point, this war is costing us. Again, when we talk about the oil, I think that leads us into a great topic. And what we're seeing here is they've been cutting off the Strait of Hormuz, right? And which is leading to the skyrocketing gas prices that we are seeing all across the United States. I just went to fill up my vehicle yesterday, and in that, for 87 gas, not even 93, 87. I ended up spending $65. And that's all like just that 16 gallons. It wasn't like I have a 20-gallon tank, but people are feeling the brunt of this. And you hear the
Mhm.
administration talk about, oh, well, this is going to be people, we have to go through a small downtime. It's going to be tough for a little bit. No, let's talk about the people who can't afford for it to be tough at all. They are barely hanging on as it is. And now what we're doing is we're looking at going from they talked about raising gas or lowering gas prices. Gas prices are skyrocketing under the Trump administration, the Trump MAGA
Absolutely.
regime. And that's what we need to focus on. Look at all of the campaign promises that this man said. We weren't going to have new wars. We're going to lower gas prices. We're going to lower the cost of groceries. And in fact, every one of those that promises that he ran on has been antithetical to the reality of
Yes.
what Americans are feeling.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And when you speak on things like that, because I think about but you see, I believe that when you plant something and when you go over something repetitively, then what you're doing is you're branding that so that the American people can think that's what it is. And that's what's in the thought process. But we have got to make sure that we get to print this out loud, because when you mention gas prices that you had to go with your car with 87, my car's due 93. I had to go back to my red car, who I was okay. I can drive a BMW now because
Mm.
in either car it would take over $100 to fill it up. So I had to go back to
Yep.
my sidekick that I could put the 87 in, and still that's over $55 to spend to fill that up. This is what's affecting us. What am I saying to us as a group? What does this group blueprint live, what we're trying to get people to understand? We're telling you the truth. We're not telling you what you want to hear. We're telling you the things that you need to hear, because these are things I think as a community, because we have got to come together. And I want to go back to say this. I got to roll back to even a couple of years back. We told you this when we tried to get you to see, even with Project 25, all of this was in it. All of this was in Project 2025, and you didn't take that and believe it. Now you're hurting and saying, oh, but what are we going to do now? So what we as a people got to come up with plans that we've got to make sure that the American people understand that everything that you're hearing, don't just take it for face value, because it's hurting your pocket too, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. He said that in that clip that you did, BJ, when he was talking about, whereas, oh, we're not hurting, the gas prices are okay. That's the people. He's looking at the rich people. He's talking to rich people. He's not talking to the everyday person. He's talking to the Elon Muskers. Those are the people. Okay.
Right?
Did you hear what I'm saying? Yes, I did his name like that. But what I'm saying is, that's who he's talking to. You're not talking to a sunshine. You're not talking to, I don't know what your digits are, but I know mine are not in that 6 digits yet. And these are the kind of things of what the Blueprint Live is going to take care of. And I want to get off my rant, but I want to let everybody know that's viewing, because we've got some great guests that's going to be coming in. Oh my God, we got some people lined up that's going to tell you things that's going to cause the hair on your head to stand up. That's what the Blueprint Live is all about. We're talking about truth. We're talking about getting the message out. And if you want to hear about it, you're going to hear about it now, because that's what we do. And BJ, I have to say to him, he is like a wheel. He never stops. I thought I was moving. He's got me beat. But when we talk about things and all of the people that are being a part of this, so we can get the message out, it is something that we've got to do, that they cannot say that we did not set aside and did not take that step to get the message out. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Once we give you this knowledge, now you're going to have to use it as well as us. As well as us. And I think, am I running close to my time, BJ? Because I'll get carried away. But
Oh, we can pivot away from gas prices and hit to the pop culture part of this segment,
let's
where
go to
pop
the top.
culture crosses with
I want to
politics.
get there. Oh, okay.
Let's do
When
it.
I started out, y'all gonna have to tell me to stop. Okay, when you go to the top. No, what bothers me, guys, is that if I stand for something, I'm not going to be embarrassed to tell you what I stand for. I'm not going to do it undercover. If it's something that I believe in, I'm not going to sit here and tell you one thing, but when I'm in my room by myself, I'm something else. And everybody know who I'm talking about. Chili, chili, chili. Hey. But what she failed to realize is that when you're on the internet, everybody got that.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many ways that you can be followed and tracked. BJ, I'm coming to you first on that one because I think you got a clip or something.
We got
don't
a
you,
clip. Let's see.
To nominate the biggest jackass in the history of politics. Straight up, period.
I think you're really gonna win.
know,
This isn't all hip-hop.
he's gonna win.
My group member voted for him.
Well,
Uh-oh.
And for those who, if it wasn't clear, that was T-Boz, 1/3 of TLC. God rest Lisa Left Eye Lopez. That was
That's
the
right.
Yes.
third of of TLC, basically acknowledging that one of her group members voted for Donald Trump, and we know that the other one is no longer
It's
on
true.
this earth. So
Right.
who else could it be besides Rosanda Chili Thomas?
I don't
That's
want
what it
no
was.
further.
But you know what? Chili been problematic for a while. I mean, we just got to
Yes,
be
ma'am.
honest about it. Chili's been problematic for a while. I don't know if people understand that she had it like this all lives matter moment when she was asked about Black Lives Matter, and she did this. Well, you know, all lives matter. She climbed on that BS train. She also, when she was referred to, I think, a chocolate princess, she was offended by being called chocolate. But the other thing that Chili needs to understand is that we know you lying, sis. We know
That's
you
right.
lying because the origin story of TLC is when y'all went bankrupt because y'all didn't read the fine print of y'all record deal contract.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden now you trying to pretend that at 55 years old, because I clocked your age, but you look good. You look good.
Yeah.
Black don't crack.
Black don't crack, baby.
I may need to tell you that. You look good for your age, sis, but there ain't no way you're going to convince me that you didn't read the fine print of these 17 organizations that are linked to Donald Trump, linked to Republicans, and linked to MAGA organizations, and that you just thought you were donating to veterans organizations. I Googled how to donate to veterans organizations. You know what came up? Let me pull it up. Vote Vets, Wounded Warriors, Disabled Veterans for America. The organizations that she donated to, none of them even had veterans in the title. So you knew what you was doing. And so that's why I think that at this point, she knows that she gets her bag from the 92%. That is her fan base.
Yep.
And so she's kind of running scared. So now she's doing this, oh, I accidentally reposted. Oh, I accidentally hearted and liked stuff. And we're just not falling for it. I actually really wanted to go to that concert. I'm not going to that concert. I'm not doing it. I'm not spending my money going to see Chili, wop up and down, and then go and donate my money to Ted Cruz organizations that don't have nothing to do with veterans and wellness for our vets.
Absolutely.
Look,
and maybe
when
it's
I
like
look
this. Go right ahead.
I was just going to say, well, for me, this is an episode of, Chili went and chased some waterfalls, and what she should have done is stuck to the rivers and the lakes. So here's where we are, right? When we look at this, to BJ's point, she's always been problematic. But you know what bothers me about the whole situation is that this lady could get on an Instagram Live or on TV and play in the faces of folks and say, oh, with respect to she reposted a meme that depicted our forever First Lady Michelle Obama, talking about she was registered as a man in what is it, Indiana or Illinois, one of the two. And we know how ludicrous it is. And then to get it on the internet on on Beyonce's internet and get up there and tell us, "Oh, my bad. I thought I was looking at something and I thought I was going to heart it, but it ended up reposting." Ma'am, why were you going to heart that? That would be my question. What would be interesting about that you would want to heart that post? And more importantly, let's talk about, we all are social media, relatively social media savvy. We know there is not a timeline, whether I'm on Twitter, whether I'm on Instagram, whether I'm on Facebook, whether I'm on TikTok, that any type of foolishness like that makes its way into my algorithm so that it
Nope.
even comes on my screen to be seen so that I can mistakenly heart and instead repost. I have never in my life seen a clip or a post that depicts Michelle Obama as a man, or our forever president Barack Obama as a monkey. Those things
Mhm.
just don't pop up on my timeline. You know why? Because I don't subscribe and I don't engage in content with people who produce that type of content. So it never comes on my timeline, which begs the question, why is it on yours? And that's
Because
the question we need to ask. And it's on yours because you subscribe to that stuff. As we've
Mm-hmm.
seen, you post and
Yep.
like to all of these MAGA regime type of rhetoric, and engage with those type of people who post it. So yes, it's going to be in your timeline. Now,
Mhm.
for me, I'm not really much on going to that many concerts. I like them. I especially like them when they're free. But so for me, what I'm never going to do
Don't we
if
all?
TLC if TLC came to this to Pensacola, Florida, would I ever give them not near nickel to sit up there, so to BJ's point, so she can go spend her money and post it, give it to the, or her portion of the money. But what I do feel is I feel for the T-bosses. I feel
Mm-hmm.
for, I guess, Pepper, because I won't even call salt in this thing. But I feel for Pepper in this situation that they're caught.
Mhm.
Their ticket sales are going to be affected because there's not like you can pay half the ticket and only
Exactly.
go
Exactly.
salt
True.
and pepper and then come back and go there. And that's where we are. But I think this raises a bigger question, is that we need to do a lot more due diligence on who are celebrities and those folks that we patronize, that we idolize, that we prop up on pedestals, to understand what their ideological beliefs are. Because Chile is not the only one. You saw it with Mary, or what's that? I don't know the lady's name from
Okay.
Mary. You see it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other gospel
I don't know about
artists? They're
anybody else, but I
all
think
over
I'm
the place.
frozen.
There are more of them than we actually think there are. And so we got to do a better job of vetting these people so you know who to spend your money with as we